So, Joe, you know that I went to this like entrepreneur women's retreat in Colorado Springs last weekend. And it was just so amazing to be in this room, basically of women solopreneurs. I mean, there were some entrepreneurs, but it was primarily solopreneurs. And I want to talk about one of the takeaways from this event because it sounds so simple, but it is so wildly powerful. And that is to say your business idea or your dream out loud. And I don't mean in your notes app or in your head or in a maybe someday board or whatever, which if you're into vision boards, that's fine. Maybe put it there too. But say it to another human because the second you say it out loud, it becomes real. And when it becomes real, other people can attach to it. And that's really when things start moving. But what I've noticed about solopreneurs is that they like to build quietly. And we've seen this time and time again that they tweak, research, refine, and they think they're being strategic, but they're just being private and because it feels safe to them, honestly. But when no one knows what you're building,
Yep.
no one can help you build it. And that's what I want to talk about today. It brings me to the topic of community in a very roundabout way.
So to be clear, though, you're talking about community in terms of other people as opposed to like an online community, like a Mighty Networks or Circle or School or something like that. You're talking about just community as a concept.
So it's like, did you read the outline I sent you? Because I have 3 different types of communities that I think people should have. Did you know that?
No, I didn't see you sent me something, but then I never clicked the link.
You know what? It's so funny. Maybe we're just turning into each other and you can read my mind. But that's literally where I'm going, is the types of community that
Cool.
people should be surrounding themselves with.
So basically, I just
You
laid out
did
a
the
spoiler.
perfect transition without even knowing it. Yeah, it was
Oh,
exactly
okay.
what we needed.
All right. Perfect.
Um, so 3 types of community, and I am not the person to originate this idea. The gal I heard it from, her name is Brooke Mikulas. She's an entrepreneur here in Colorado Springs. I don't even know if it's her original idea, but she talked about it and I loved it. So I'm going to share it today. So the first type of community is what she called a sustaining community. And these are the people that know you through and through, which is apparently us now at this point. Finish each other's sandwiches, as they say in Frozen. But these are the people that have seen your pivots, they've seen your doubts, they've seen you almost quit, which as a solopreneur, obviously that imposter syndrome can get in there. But this is the community that is still here, being your cheerleaders, being your critics and everything through it all. They don't necessarily push you harder, and they don't necessarily expand your network, but they sustain you and they tell you when you're wrong. They tell you when they think you're onto something, and they're along with you for the ride. So when you say your dream out loud to these people, they say, "Of course you can. Now just figure out how to do it." Um, and sometimes that's the type of community that just keeps solopreneurs going. So I'll stop there. Any thoughts on this type of community?
Yeah, my thought is that, yes, this is awesome. It's not easy sometimes to find these kinds of ones because, even if they know you deeply, sometimes they don't get the idea of solopreneurship, entrepreneurship. So the only thing I think I want to point out is that there are the kind of the inverse of these in your life, or the people that are the naysayers that are telling you can't do it. Um, that that's too hard, it's impossible, that's not for you. And I see a lot of people talking about this kind of impact in their lives as they started trying to get their businesses going. And I was blessed that I did not have that in my life. My dad was an entrepreneur. He loved entrepreneurship, encouraged me. My mother was one of those moms that encouraged anything. So I didn't have that as I got started. And, my friends were all supportive, but a lot of people don't have that. And I think it's really, really important to know that, that's out there and you need to get away from it.
Hmm. Well, and then on the flip side of that, you don't want somebody that's just going to be your cheerleader. I'd liken it to ChatGPT. If you don't train ChatGPT, it's always going to agree with you.
Oh, it's almost annoying. But yeah, that's right. That was my mom. Everything I did was right. My dad would go, "Yeah, I don't think so." And that's what you need. You need that somebody's going to get right in your face and tell you when you're wrong, nicely but firmly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and this can even just be like 2 or 3 people. Like, this doesn't need to be like you need 20 people in this type of community. But the second type of community she mentioned was the stretching community. And that's kind of what it sounds like. These are the people who lovingly like call you forward to expand. They hear what your business is, they hear what your dream is, and they say that's great, but why are you playing it so small? And this doesn't mean expanding with employees or anything, but a lot of times solopreneurs think that if they're just this one tiny person that they really can't make that big of an impact, and that's not true. So this type of community questions your pricing. They challenge your thinking. They call out blind spots, and it's not always comfortable, but it's necessary. And if you have this type of community, it helps you feel a little bit more safe, to expand your horizons. So these are the people like mentors or um, a trusted community of people in your space that you can talk to, people you look up to. So it's not that safe space, my best friend, my mom, my dad, anything like that. It's the people that push you. I would say, Joe, you're kind of like that for me, if we're being honest.
I'm glad. That's what I would like to be. But you got me thinking, and this is a little bit of a shameless plug, but it's free. So we just had a Solopreneur Problem Solvers event, and I was kind of playing that role in my group, where I was kind of pushing somebody to kind of say, "Hey, wait a minute, can you do this a little better, a little differently, a little bigger?" And and I think that's helpful. It's a helpful way to help people think. I think this is a really good idea.
Yeah, and this is the community that helps you grow. And for the record, you can do a shameless plug because this is our show and we can do whatever we want, especially if it's free. um, so the third community she talked about was the scaling community. And these are the people who expand your opportunity. So you have the core group, you have the push yourself group, and then you have the opportunity group. And they introduce you to rooms you wouldn't normally be in. They help refer clients, they help you collaborate. They get your message and then amplify it. But they can't help you scale if they don't know what you want. So you have to keep your dream. So sorry, I said that backwards. If you keep your dream private, you are limiting this group. But if you say it out loud, now these people can help you connect the dots to expand that message, and just build that momentum that you need.
That this is absolutely true and very, very powerful. But one of the things to keep in mind is that some of the best ways to have people want to help you is to help them. And maybe the way you help them is small compared to what they can do for you, but it still can be a quid pro quo, if you will, or just a way of having reciprocity. So just going in and asking people to help you. I had this guy come to me and ask me to mentor him. I don't know the guy. I've never met him. It was just a LinkedIn message. I looked at his website. It was really confusing. I gave him a little bit of advice in an email, but then I was like, "Oh, will you be my mentor?" And it's like, gee, I'm doing this for a lot of people, and I don't understand why I should drop everything to help you grow your business. It was like a weird ask. He just kind of came in and asked me for stuff, never did anything for me, never offered to help me. And I think that, that's something to keep in mind, is that, doing little things to help people, all of a sudden they volunteer.
Joe, okay, I know you didn't look at the outline I sent you, and I didn't even send you my notes of what I wanted to talk to you. Can I read my notes verbatim of what I was just about to say?
Sure.
This is verbatim. I have this written down in front of me of what I wanted to say. Community must be mutually beneficial. The healthiest communities are reciprocal. They help you you refer, you connect, you share opportunities, and you celebrate wins. So, one mind. You were right on where I was going with that. I didn't even need to read the rest of my notes for
That's
that
funny.
section. um, so that, yeah, I'm so glad you went there because that is exactly what I was going to say. Now, some people may be asking, okay, well, how do I build some of those communities? Sometimes some people might argue that the first community might be the easiest because it's the people you're closest to. But what about the other stuff? And her recommendation is with boundaries, of course, but to try to say yes to most meetings that come your way, whether it's over coffee or Zoom, in person, whatever, because you don't know if the conversation is going to become a client, a referral, a collaborator, a friend, even that could be in that inner circle, or just a completely new direction with your product or service. She is a community builder here locally, this gal that was presenting. And she said, I literally just said yes to everything because I didn't know where it was going to take me. And it took her to where she is today. So, in terms, we don't all like taking those meetings, but let's just say to set boundaries. You have 20 minutes to take this one. I'd love to connect. Let's be helpful together. Like set those boundaries, but try to be the yes guy to build that community and expand your opportunities.
I think there's some timing involved there. That's something that, especially early in your journey, you're going to want to do that. You're going to want to get out there, because you don't have it all figured out. And meeting people and talking to people can get you good connections, good ideas. Yeah, as you get your business established and developed and you're running a successful business, sometimes then you have to put some additional boundaries up and say, I have limited time to invest in just saying yes. But, not to never say yes, but, we always talk about the power of saying no, right? So there's a little bit of a balance, but early in the process, and I remember John Jantz is talking about, like I always say, focus down, niche down. And he said, well, early on, sometimes it's better just to try a bunch of things to see what you like. And I think that's a valid perspective. So this is kind of something that might be viewed differently when you're starting out a business or starting out a new path versus once you're established and things are going well.
Yep. I think that is a great, great point. So yeah, I challenge our listeners to say your business, your idea, your vision for your business out loud and see where it takes you to start making those connections. And Joe, can I end the episode with my saying?
Absolutely.
Because flying solo in business doesn't mean you're alone. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Share this episode with a friend who you think needs to hear it, who has an idea and just hasn't said it out loud. Subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. We've started getting really into YouTube Shorts, and they're awesome. And we're just kind of dropping little nuggets there. So be sure to subscribe to that channel. And as always, leave us a 5-star review. It helps us spread the word. Amplify our message to other solopreneurs. Joe, go.
Yeah. Can I jump in on that? Yeah. Because I'm just, we started this thing a few years ago and we're Nowheresville. And, we've gotten up to the point where we've hit the top 2.5% of all podcasts globally. And we've been stuck there for like over a year. And it would mean so much to us if people would go to Apple Podcasts or someplace like that and just leave a review. 5 stars preferably, but leave a review. And if it's, as our buddy Jay says, if it's not the worst thing ever, give us a 5-star review. And I just, it really, we do this and invest our time and energy and money. And if you could just drop that review, it would mean so much to us that it would get us spread out more. More people would know about it and give us that satisfaction of knowing that we're growing and we're doing better. So just a big ask here, but please do that for us if you would.
Yes, you guys are our scaling community. We would so appreciate it. We'll see you next week on the Aspiring Solopreneur.